Hello and welcome to a new video. My name is Simone Sautler. I'm a PR and AIO strategist, and I help my clients to become visible and relevant in the AI era. And I do this by getting them onto podcast shows. I get them on into the media, and I make them being found by AI search. And we do this by building trust signals all over the internet and engineering our digital footprint. So today I want to talk with you about what actually changed with Google, because a lot of people asked me and said like, yeah, okay, so I see that there is now the AI summary on top, but I actually don't understand what this really means. I know it's important, but I can't make sense of it. Okay, so this is what this short video is about today. Okay, so Google stopped being a search engine, right? So for 25 years, Google did just one thing. It was indexing the whole internet and you could explore yourself, right? So it was basically a library that you walked into, right? With all the books, and you could just pick a book and you could just explore and you could read, right? So you Googled something and then you got 10 results. And then you could go through all the results and you could decide yourself what is actually relevant, what do you trust, and what is it actually that you would want to do with this information, right? Um, so that means you basically did all the work, right? The finding, the comparing, the judging, what was true and what could you trust. Okay. And that gave you the room to stumble onto people and ideas and concepts and things that you were not even searching for because you were exploring, right? You were exploring what is there. And the only job that Google had was like indexing what is actually there. And as a marketer or as a business owner, your job was to be found by Google, and you did this with search engine optimization, right? So the mental model almost everyone still has of Google is that it is a search engine, but it just is not a search engine anymore, okay? So old Google handed you the map of the internet and let you explore, and then you were the one deciding, okay? Now, new Google is basically an AI assistant and not a search engine, right? So a couple of weeks ago, a couple of months ago, the entire, you know, Google basically flipped, right? Overnight. And that change is a massive change for everyone, right? So for business owners, but also for parents, it has a massive impact on how we actually find information and how we use information, understand information, okay? So basically, as I said, the old Google was like you walking into a library and picking the books that you were interested in, like searching through them, reading them, and deciding on your own. Now it's more like you go to the library, but somebody meets you at the door before you go in and they ask you what you want, right? So you have a query that you ask, right? You want to know something, but instead of you being able to enter the library and going through the books on your own, Google now hands you the answers, right? And you're never really inside to look for yourself. Okay. This is basically what Google does now. It searches for you, it analyzes, it synthesizes for you, and then gives you its version. Okay. Um, so that means you get a first draft and a perspective and a rough cut, but not a shelf that where all the sources are there that you can, weigh on your own, decide on your own. Now, what does this mean as business owners? That means that our potential clients have an even harder time to find us, right? SEO was, you had to take SEO seriously to be found. But once in a while you're lucky, maybe you wrote a great blog post, maybe you had, a great podcast interview or whatever, and then you were, appeared in the searches. But now you consciously have to design that, okay? And this brings us to point number 3, which is AI is now the gatekeeper of who gets found, okay? Because, when your clients are not able anymore to enter the library and discover everything that is there, but only are able to get one answer, and the answer, comes from AI directly, we as business owners need to ask ourselves, like, how can I actually influence this answer? How can I make AI, reply to my client saying, hey, this person is the expert that you should work with. This person has actually, I don't know, this framework that could work for your business. Whatever it is, okay? So experts are no longer discovered the way that it used to be because, people don't stumble upon you anymore because they can't. There is no second page that will actually save you, okay? So AI does the research for the person and decides who counts as a trustworthy answer. Now, the good news is you can engineer that. You can be the trustworthy answer. You can be the person and the expert that AI recommends. Okay. But bottom line is, like, AI says, here is who I found, here is what I know about them, and here is who I recommend. Now, and if AI does not read you as credible, you are simply not the answer, right? There, as I said, there is no page 2 that will save you, right? With Google, there was still page 2, although people already said, like, you're invisible when you're on page 2, which is not completely true. It's true for the most part because most people sift through page 1, but some people still click through to page 2, and then, you still have the chance to be discovered. With AI, it doesn't work like that because AI either mentions you or it doesn't. Okay. And believe me, search behavior changes so much that this is the way how people search now. People will not go and do 20 searches, right? If AI finds an expert that it trusts, then your clients will go down the rabbit hole saying, like, okay, what did this person do? Why can I trust this person? Give me proof, give me clients, give me frameworks, whatever they want. Okay. And they will have this entire conversation with AI before even reaching out to you. This is why it is so crucial, why we need to build these trust signals online. And the biggest trust signals are being on podcasts and being in the media. Okay. And this is also why content alone doesn't work anymore. Okay. So you, like, back in SEO times, you could rank also if you didn't do PR. It was way harder because backlinks were a big thing, still are a big thing, even bigger than then. But if you had great content, you could make it in, like, ranking on Google somehow. Okay. If you had a bigger audience, a lot of clicks, a lot of traffic. But now it's not possible anymore. Okay. So what you need to do is you need to look and learn how to actually build trust signals, meaning you need to speak on podcasts and you need to be in the media, because when content actually is being able, or like if AI allows us to create content, expert content, in a really polished way. Okay, but now everybody can do that. And AI cannot distinguish anymore who is an expert and who is not, just based on the content, which is why AI needs to rely on third-party signals, on third-party endorsements. And these are the trust signals. And this is why I say, when somebody has you on the podcast, when the media speaks about you, or when you write an article for the media, this is what AI actually sees as trust signal. Okay. So this is basically your job. You need to really understand how marketing changed in the times of AI. And you need to learn how to do this and implement this for your business if you want to stay visible, but also if you want to stay relevant and if you want to be trustworthy, because we are in a trust recession and trust is only going down even more due to AI. So you need to find a way to build instant trust with your audience.